Patrick Mahomes in this game. The dude was, out of this world. Brenda had a comment I saw a little bit ago about she knew he was going to have a good game. If you watched our preview show, our episode from last week, we kind of talked about players of the game, and I took the easy route, but I just knew Patrick was going to come back after the 3 interception game against Denver Broncos. Just knew he was going to have a big game, and did he ever? That guy is playing at a level. Every time you think the guy can't get any better, or you think, oh, there can't be any records left that he hasn't broken, he rises up. Dude, he was so dialed in that game. And you look at his numbers, he had 340 yards. Oh, there it is right there at the bottom of the screen, 336 yards. He had, 50 or 60 or 70 yards at least in dropped passes?
Yeah,
easily.
The guy had, 5 incomplete passes. 3 of those were drops. He could have easily been 39 or 40 of 41 for 400-something yards.
Insane.
Yeah. 20 straight completions or something like that. Just lights out, dude.
Did you hear during the broadcast when Kevin Harlan, I think it was 17 or 18 straight completions, he goes, and that's Patrick Mahomes' 18th straight completion. And Trent Green, this was a complete moment of you could tell it was genuine surprise by Trent Green. He said, how many? Even Trent Green was caught off guard by Patrick Mahomes completing 18 straight or 17 straight passes there at the end of the game in crunch time when it counts the most. There's this MVP talk, and we'll get to that here in a second. But man, the guy, there's nobody in the league that's as good as that guy. Nick,
not as consistently.
Nick, what stood out to you about Patrick Mahomes' performance against Houston Texans?
Just the dude he was on. All of his passes were just dead on. He's finding the right guy. He's making the right decisions. He didn't force things. Patient when he needed to be, ran when he needed to. I threw up the running touchdown to him. He just seems like he gets in that zone, and it's unfortunate that it was even as close as it was, because he was just dealing. I mean, there's not enough superlatives to say about how good that guy is and what he can do on the football field consistently. We're not talking a season or two now. We're talking, 4 or 5 years of straight just domination in every statistical category. Number one, you see all the graphs, all the charts that people put out there. He's the outlier, and it's not even close. I mean, it's just, you just see these dots on these graphs. You see a line that's just somebody accidentally drew one way above everybody else. And it's oh, that must be Patrick Mahomes, and everybody knows it, right? And so, yeah, it's just amazing, and just such a cool guy, right? So humble about it. He's just, he's just there to win, and he'll do whatever it takes. So hats off to him for bouncing back after that rough game where he also had 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, but also 3 picks. So,
dude, he's one of those quarterbacks, right, that loves to lead by example, and he'll take the game over and get everybody riled up, fired up, and he does it time and time again. I went back and was watching some of our episodes and everything like that, and we're just talking about, what's Mahomes' greatest play so far to date, and we're talking about all these great plays, and then I'm looking back at this season, and it's just man, now he has 30 of those plays just this season alone. He's just phenomenal. What stood out to me the most was just how effortless he makes stuff look. Sometimes his feel for the game and where players are at is unmatched to any other quarterback. If he had a line that could give him longer than 3 seconds in a pocket, he would, I think, have a perfect game. He would have 0 incompletions, or you would just see all-star Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, my takeaway was that that guy can take over a game and lead when he wants to, and not only does he do it, it rubs off on other players, and you see them kind of get up and start trying to do the same thing. So that was my takeaway about it.
Yeah, just watching him in that game, it just reinforced everything we've been talking about him on this show. And we're talking about the MVP candidacy, and he had 20 straight completions. I went back and looked up until Jalen Hurts got hurt this week, no pun intended. The guy, he had 7 games. He was like the top competition for the MVP the last 2 or 3 weeks, and he actually took over as betting favorite there for a hot second.
Right.
But he had 7 games this year where he didn't even complete 20 passes total. And Patrick's out here completing 20 straight in the second half of the football game. I mean, it's no disrespect to these other guys. I put out on the Chiefs Twitter account too. It's like every team and every general manager, every team in the NFL would trade their quarterback for Patrick Mahomes in a second.
Yeah.
I don't care. And Bills fans and Bengals fans were jumping in there. Nope, no way. They were doing the picture of Joe Burrow with Patrick Mahomes on his shoulder and was like, oh, no, he's Mahomes' daddy. Dude, Joe Burrow hasn't sniffed the records, the level of accomplishment, the awards. And that's not to, diminish Joe Burrow as a quarterback. He's one of the top 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Jalen Hurts is having a fantastic season. There's lots of guys that are good, but they're just not as good as Patrick Mahomes. And I know that sounds like total homer show because this is Chiefs Kingdom Live, and I'm wearing a Chiefs shirt, and I've got Patrick Mahomes on the TV back there. But I would be saying this if he played for another team. It's so
right.
obvious.
His numbers are so ridiculous.
It is. I mean, it's just so obvious. And you know what? Okay, you want to argue that maybe they wouldn't trade Josh Allen for Joe Burrow, or I'm sorry, for Patrick Mahomes. They wouldn't trade Joe Burrow for Patrick Mahomes. If you cleared every team's roster and drew teams out of a hat to reset the NFL, all 32 teams, whoever's getting that first pick is picking Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yep.
Easily.
Look at this graph right here. So go ahead, Scotty.
Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
So you look at this, like over here, we've got, expected points added per, cumulative for the season versus how many plays for this year. Just look at like where Mahomes is versus second place, right? They've got Jalen Hurts here. So like you look at this and it's just that's what you call a statistical outlier, right? And you look, this is for his career. So this is cumulative win probability added on first 4,000 dropbacks, right? So this is how many dropbacks. This is his win probability that he's added by his play. And you just look at like this line and like, look how far above he is literally everybody else. And he hasn't even got to
it's like at a 45-degree angle above the next person.
1,000 snaps yet.
No.
So it's just, sorry, I cut out.
No, you're good.
Did I cut out? Everybody froze. So, yeah. It's you look at these graphs and there you can find, if you go on Twitter, you see one of these charts like every other week where it's like, oh, I did all these numbers. And it's just like, yep, you see all these dudes and then you see Patrick Mahomes. And it's, I mean, you can't dispute it anymore. All right.
Dude, we talk about it every week, right? Like he's averaging over 300 yards a game, damn near 30 points a game.
Yeah.
Like that's not a thing in the NFL, right? To do it to have the average over a season be that, like, unreal.
His career average is over 300 yards a game.
Yeah.
There was a stretch earlier this season where he had 6 or 7 straight games with 300 yards passing, and no other quarterback in the NFL had 6 total 300-yard passing games. It's remarkable. It's unbelievable what the dude is doing.
I love it. Like when it's on ESPN or NBC and they're discussing the MVP role, and they'll put up all the statistics side by side. They'll have Josh Allen and they'll throw Herbert up there and Hurts, and they'll put everything. And then Mahomes, it's just like everything, every little thing is just like way better. And they'll like, oh, but look, he has 11 interceptions, and you're like, what? He has 12 more touchdowns than the next quarterback, like 1,000 more passing yards. Like who? Yeah.
The dude, he's unbelievable to watch, and he's just that much better than everybody else. Nick Wright made a good point on his show this week too. I was watching that a little bit, and he goes, "Oh, is it Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen?" And then it was, "Oh, is it Patrick Mahomes or is it Tua Tagovailoa? Oh, is it Patrick Mahomes and is it Jalen Hurts? And oh, is it Patrick Mahomes or is it Joe Burrow?" It's been Patrick Mahomes all year. These guys have a couple hot games and they want to put them in the conversation. What's the common denominator in all of these discussions? It's Patrick Mahomes and insert other quarterback for 2 weeks. The guy's the MVP. He's the most valuable player. Every team in the league, like I said, if you cleared all the NFL rosters and reset the league, every team would pick Patrick Mahomes first overall.
Should I do that in my fantasy league?
You're doing a pickup league like back in the day. Remember when you used to play pickup football at the park and you'd all stand over there and then you'd have 2 team captains and I want him. Everybody's pointing Patrick Mahomes first.
No, everybody makes Mahomes the team captain because you can't pick Patrick Mahomes. It's unfair.
Yeah.